yeah, I think everyone needs multiple streams of income. And so it's super important. I can't imagine not having that, because the security you get, the feeling you get of confidence, of like financial confidence when you have that. You know, one could take a dive 1 month or have a rough month, and yet you're still good. You're still able to make good decisions in life, because it's really tough. I've been there many times where you have decisions in life, financially or business or family, and if you're stressed about financials, you're not really making the best decisions typically. It's a very stressful point of view to come from. So really important to get your financial side of your life in check, so that you can live a great life.
You have to begin by being rich and wealthy in your mind before you become rich and wealthy in life. The real purpose of financial wealth is for you to be able to finance your personal mission for your life. It's your freedom money.
We're here with Caesar, and Caesar, we just spent the last 25 minutes or so talking about opportunities within your business. And I'd love for you to kind of just share with our friends that experience.
Well, it is amazing that you guys reach out to just talk about my business and make me realize what I'm probably missing and what should just keep doing or keep growing and expect on my business and in terms of growing in the future. I feel like for new agents, it is important to have these conversations so your mindset is in place and you get motivated every day to just keep going.
Awesome. Thank you, Caesar.
That was well said.
Mentorship and coaching is so important because if you think about it, our entire lives, we have had coaches, teachers, people who help us grow, and it should be absolutely no different with business.
You can almost overdo it at KW. So we have our initial coaching program that you join as a new agent, which is productivity coaching. We also have growth coaching, advanced coaching, and then Keller Williams offers MAPS coaching, international training. So, you could be in training and in class every day of the week if you really wanted to.
And whether their goal is 100 transactions a year or they're more focused on lifestyle and fueling whatever it is that they're trying to do with their life, we have coaching that is tailored to whatever they need to grow their business.
I sit back and reflect on my time with Keller Williams Realty Centers. I can see how much I've already continued to grow, and the people around me and the people that I've met here and the journey and trajectory that they're on, that I'm building a life that I'd never imagined for myself.
Over the last 10 years of being in real estate, I can honestly say that these last 2 years have put me in a place where I can create my life for myself and my family that I didn't even know was possible.
So how does an agent make their business more profitable? Well, I think the first thing you need to do is you need to have a plan.
Understanding the fact that we have certain revenue goals, but we can't have those goals and reach those goals if we don't understand what our expenses are, and creating that net income.
Have a plan, keep an eye on the numbers, and then just keep redirecting every time you think you're off course, or just keep checking in.
Because at the end of the day, I can show you many agents that do hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of transactions every year, but their expenses equate the amount of money that they bring in. We want to change that conversation. We want to change the conversation to it's what you take home at the end of the day. That's what matters to us.
Everybody has bought and sold. I'm like, really? Everybody has bought and sold.
Something that's fun, that gets people to take a second look.
Post on Facebook 10 times a week.
We had another model moment.
You need to tell people how you're winning.
The technology is supporting our efforts, not leading our efforts.
Every agent is posting, inventory's up and all this and doom and gloom. I'm going, hey, there were 7,200 homes sold last month in the Phoenix market.
Right. Right.
There's this pressure to have omnipresence, be everything to everyone all the time. I'm a believer that is not possible.
I gotta hit pause.
You're throwing a lot of value, which is your motto.
It's pretty sweet.
I don't know if it gets any better. We call this kind of the Disneyland for the real estate entrepreneur. And
wherever you're thinking today, just 10x it.
Hey, everybody, if you like that, there is so much more. There we are, my friends. How's everyone doing?
Good, good.
Fantastic. Thanks for unmuting my mic, Gary.
Yeah, my pleasure. I love the power. Sometimes we got to mute those people. You're listening to the right noise. I don't know. Is that our theme today? Anyways, lots of good stuff. We have lots of friends joining us and excited for today's team meeting. This is Colin, Jen. This is KWRC, where entrepreneurs thrive. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, I'm going to share my screen and then we're going to jump into a whole bunch of stuff. And like I said, we have many friends joining, industry experts, everyone from new lawyers that we're going to be meeting today, mortgage brokers. One of my favorites as well, when you know that I love investing in real estate, and I can't invest in real estate without great team members like a paralegal, Bita Delisi. And trust me, I am a terrible property manager. She knows it. Everyone knows it. And that's why we have Bita Delisi and property managers on our team as well. And we're excited to have her. And of course, Terry Hastings is with us, just fresh back from Austin. That's right, Colin, down, just hanging out with some guy.
Yeah, some dude named Gary.
Gary Keller, yeah.
Not
McGowan.
Gary, there is. Yeah. That's right. That's right. All right. Well, as we all know, my friends, that excuse me, our mission here at KW is to build careers worth having, businesses worth owning, lives worth living, experiences worth giving, and of course, our favorite is legacies worth leaving. And we're going to skip some of this stuff here, and we're going to go right to the mission moment, because this is where over the last month we've kind of, not us has set the tone, but our partners, the people that our colleagues have set the tone, right, Jen, on what we've been doing in the community. And it's just something that it's kind of like that avalanche, right? Once it started, it just goes, and momentum is built and everything else. Jen, kind of take it over from here, would you?
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. You know, once we kind of create the vision and start to talk about it, the people show up, right? They step outside of their comfort zone, or they raise their hand and say, I want to be a part of this. I want to make a difference. I want to give back. I want to support. And we get the opportunity to sit back and let them do that and have them be a part of our journey. And one of the amazing things that obviously we did in May was Red Day. And we all know that, you know, it was a great day. It was a great success. We had a lot of agents in participation. We raised a lot of money, and we'll get to all of that in a minute. But the thing I want to focus on is the people that stepped up, and we had an amazing group of supporters that, you know, showed up every week, that were on our weekly Zoom calls, that were at the meetings, that helped us get sponsorships and get food donations and go out of their way to do so much. And it was actually really hard to make this call because we had so many people. But what we did end up and where we landed was that one person kind of stood out a little bit above everybody else, and not because she was bigger, but just because she was so invested. She was committed. She was driving us. And if you ask Stephanie, she'll say the same thing. We were getting emails and phone calls and texts, keeping us on track with what we needed, because she was so passionate about it. And we just wanted to take a moment and recognize Sandy Stavropoulos. I can never pronounce her last name. Sorry, Sandy Stavropoulos. She is Melissa Taylor's Director of Operations, and that title suits her to an absolute T. She was amazing when it came to Red Day. She was basically, you know, a third leader in our party. Stephanie and myself could not have done what we did without her support. She brought a background of training and experience, but she also brought so much heart. She went and raised volunteers. She raised sponsors. She was communicating with her entire Keswick site. She was leading that site. She was organizing events. It was unreal. She's really stepped up. I can't thank her enough for how much she really helped us to make sure that it was the day that it was. And she's a big part of the reason we had the success we did. So Sandy, thank you for being a cultural ambassador at our brokerage. The best part about this is Sandy just joined us and Mel's team in February. But you can tell how great of a fit she is just from her mindset and her heart and the culture that she brings to the table. So we're very lucky to have her. Melissa is very lucky to have her on her team. And we're just grateful for all that Sandy did for us and continues to do for us. So yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. Colin and I, we made it to the 3 different sites, and she had everything under control. It was amazing. And that just goes to show when you have the right people in place, you can do pretty amazing things. And Red Day was a huge success. So thank you, Sandy. And thanks to everybody. Jim, we got a little, a classic little slideshow that we're going to show. And Colin's holding up his finger. Let's watch the slideshow, a couple of pictures, a couple of captions of the day, and then we'll hand it over to Colin.
Something good. I think we're onto something good. Don't let it get away. This could be everything. You know I gotta say, I think we're onto something good. I think we're onto something good. There's just something. Excellent. Colin, look at it. Here's our big grand total.
Wow, that is impressive. So Keller Williams Realty Centers Partners, thank you so much. Based on all your efforts, your contribution, we were able to raise a total of $7,178. Thank you for on behalf of the entire leadership team. We're truly grateful for you giving up your day to give back to the community. And I want to say a special shout out to Wasim's assistant, Anna, who has just been phenomenal in helping organize the buckets, all the soap, everything that was needed for that day. So truly an amazing day. Everyone showed up. Gary and I, we were fortunate enough to visit all 3 locations, and it was such a great day. One of my favorite Red Days, period. So thank you, KWRC. It was a phenomenal day. And obviously, we did a great job in the monies that we raised for charity.
Excellent. Anything to add to that, Jen?
Just that, yeah, I mean, a lot. It was an awesome day. And just a shout out to our sponsors as well. We ended up having around 7 sponsors, which was phenomenal. And we're very excited. So just wanted to thank them. We had Nelson Homes was one of our big sponsors, DKS Law. The Royal Venetian not only sponsored us monetarily, but also provided all of the food for the after party, included as a donation, which was amazing. Michael Dinner and Tom and Jerry's provided lunch at our Aurora site. We had lunch at our Keswick site donated. Azure Fitness, their clothing line, sponsored us. Vulture Storage, Burchett Law, and I think, and Magic Mobile, which is Anna Milani's husband's car detailing company that provided all of the soap and, all of that stuff for us, all donated. So we wouldn't have been able to raise the money we raised if they hadn't have stepped up and helped us and sponsored us and supported what we're doing. So just a big shout out to all of those guys as well for their continued support.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Okay. This is what I love. I love when we have an opportunity to go on vacation on someone else's dime. And Jen knows what I'm talking about. And Colin's like, uh-oh, what's happening? What's happening?
Like, what am I? Yeah. Oh, he just got it.
There you go. Jen, why don't you update us with what's going on with our KWRC referral leaderboard here?
Yeah, we had a bit of a shift. Gary, you said last month you don't want to see Adam, number 14, at the top spot. And he is at 18 points right now. So he took that top spot from Adam. And Melissa Taylor has climbed her way up to the number 3 spot at the moment. So we've got a bit of a battle going on. Even more impressive, and thank you so much to everybody. We're already at 58 referrals just since we started this contest. That's amazing. And our goal, as you know, guys, you got to get to 100 in order for the ticket to get cash for whoever that winner is. So you're more than halfway there, and it's been 2 months. I'm pretty sure that somebody is going to be on a beach somewhere next year enjoying some cocktails on KWRC. So keep the referrals coming. Thank you so much. We're working with all of the names you passed to us. We'll continue to keep you updated as we connect with them and meet and have conversations. And, it's been a lot of fun so far. And, offering people a trip really lights a fire. I'm not going to lie to you. There's some people that are really determined to get to that beach. So I suspect we'll see this board change a few more times throughout the course of the year. But yeah.
Excellent. Excuse me. And before we bring on our guest, Bida Delisi, Jen, just remind us how easy it is to refer someone to you or our leadership team for that's another agent from a different brokerage. So, like, what does that conversation look like? How does that happen? Talk to us about that.
Yeah, it's actually very easy. I know a lot of agents are unsure of the process and get a little caught up in the weeds of the how to do something. It's as simple as, and actually Melissa Taylor has mastered this. For those of you that want to talk to somebody, she's going to kill me, but ask Melissa. It's as simple as as having a great deal with another agent and going, I love the conversation we had. I love the relationship we built. Sending me a message to say, hey, I had a great experience with this agent. Can you reach out to them? And then just letting the agent know that I'm going to reach out, right? If you're not comfortable letting them know, you don't have to do that either. I will let them know and say, hey, Colin recommended that I give you a call. Thank you so much. And we're always going to come from gratitude on that conversation and just see if they're open to having a conversation about their business. It's a very simple process. The other thing, of course, is when it happens organically, guys, people are curious about KW. We're a big brand. We've grown a lot. We have great training and support. When they ask you, what do you think, or how's KW, or how are things going at your brokerage? Instead of saying they're good or I love it, maybe just say, you know what? It's amazing. We have this great support and training. Why don't you come to a class next week? Why don't I have my manager or team leader reach out to you, or give them an opportunity to get into conversation with somebody? From there, it's on us. We take it and we will do the rest for you as best we can. And we'll continue to nurture those relationships ongoing as well if it's not the right time for them. So
there you go. It's as easy as that. We'll give Bida just a heads up to get your webcam ready, and we're ready to move on. It really is. It's just as easy as that. And I remember doing a transaction with someone last fall, and it's just funny how things just come about, in a circle, right? Things always happen for a reason. He saw one of my videos on Realm, reached out, and next thing you know, we're having coffee next week. And it's just that. And we talked about just connecting with people. And sometimes it might not be, hey, go talk to my manager. First, it's that coffee date, right? Yeah. And then the next one, and then, right? And always look for that opportunity. Good stuff. Jen, Colin, we'll say goodbye for a few moments. And Red Day it's always fun to get out into the community and share, some pretty amazing things. Red Day is not just one day of the year, my friends. It's every day. And that's the way we think. All right. I'm going to invite my good friend, Bida, to come on screen with me. And Bida, you and I have been doing, your mic's muted there. Just give you that heads up. We've been doing some weekly videos together and lots of great feedback. And I wanted you've sent or you've been on our team meeting about 2 years ago, and then all of a sudden, people start having questions again. Who do we reach out to? And I always say this, I have experienced a tremendous amount of ordeal when it comes to dealing with landlords or dealing with tenants and landlords. But I've not had as much experience as you, because you're in it every day, working with crazy landlords, I'll say it like that, and crazy tenants and everything in between. And I thought we'd have you on this month just to kind of, calm the waters a little bit, to let everyone know that you are, you're in our Rolodex, as it were, to help us manage and work through some tough issues. And I'm gonna hand it over to you, and just share with us what you're doing, how you're supporting landlords, and of course some of the things that we as both realtors and landlords need to watch out for the next coming months and so forth. But thank you for joining us.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gary. Your podcasts are so much fun, so I can always continue doing them. So firstly, thank you so much for having me on. We provide support to landlords and realtors throughout the province of Ontario, supporting them with their landlord and tenancy matters. So if you are a realtor who has a client, or if you're a landlord or an investor and you're experiencing some issues with your tenant with respect to non-payment of rent, late payment of rent, or if you want to move into your property and you're getting that resistance from the tenant, or more so if you've sold the property and the tenant is not moving and you have a firm agreement of purchase and sale. So that's where we come in to provide support in an effort to really end the tenancy and have the tenant move out, so that you can meet your closing deadline or you can meet your moving date.
Do we still have you? Yeah, good.
Yeah. I thought something happened there for a second.
And talk to us a little bit about, okay, and we list homes, we go look at homes, and just as you mentioned, that are tenanted, and either we want to sell a home vacant, or our buyer wants vacant possession. I know you and I have talked about this many times in the past, but what do we have? What tools do we have at our in our hands that we can make that happen? A vacant tenancy or vacant possession, sorry.
So landlords often only have two options. Then their options are limited, because they're either going to have to go through the board, which means they have to serve notice, they have to fulfill requirements of that notice, then they have to file with the landlord and tenant board and proceed through the legal channels in order to obtain an eviction order, so that they can enforce a termination of tenancy and evict the tenant. So that route, Gary, is a more time-consuming route, because it'll take 7 to 8 months just to receive a notice of hearing, right? And if you've sold the property, then, I mean, who's going to wait? Which buyer is going to wait months in order to, just receive a notice of hearing? Even when you receive your notice of hearing, it's not a guarantee that your matter will be heard. And what I mean by that is that anything can happen on the day of the hearing. The board can, run out of time. The adjudicator may forget to show up. There could be technical difficulties. The tenant may ask for an adjournment because they didn't have time to prepare, or they didn't have the time to get legal advice, right? And usually one party has really one kick at the can. Or your second option is really a cash for keys, which is simple. It's a buyout in exchange for termination of tenancy. So you're either paying time, you're paying with your time, or you're paying money. Those are really landlord's options.
Yeah, and in the cash for keys, although it sounds kind of crazy and everything else like that, it when it really isn't, right? It's going towards your tenant and talking about and coming up with a win-win, obviously. And talk to us a little bit about what that conversation looks like for those that are wondering.
Well, I can't tell you what to do, because then I'd be giving legal advice, right? And I always say, as agents, guys, please don't get involved with the legal process, because the last thing you want is to get an agreement to end the tenancy signed, and then the tenant gets tenant remorse and they put a stay or a hold on the order because, the realtor forced them. The realtor pressured them, and maybe your intention was not to pressure them. Your intention was to work for your client to obtain vacant possession. But, now it's up to the board to determine whether or not they can continue their tenancy. You see, even when a property is sold, it doesn't mean you're going to get a termination of tenancy through the board. Termination of tenancy, even with the sale of a property, is not 100% guaranteed, especially when agents are involved, because the way the board sees this is that as an agent, you're only looking out for the commission. So you will do what you have to do in order to end the tenancy, right? And their concern is not the sale of the property, right? Keep in mind, the board has a mandate, and their mandate is to protect against unlawful evictions. Your second mandate is to protect against unlawful rent increases. But in this case, it would be an unlawful eviction.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've talked in depth about the accuracy of the paperwork and why that's so important, and talk to us a little bit about, submitting forms, filling out the forms, and why it is so important, because there's things that you and I have both witnessed firsthand that wouldn't go the way that an investor or a landlord would want them to go, just based on a single comma missing or something like that, right?
That's right. Remember, you're dealing with legal documents, and legal documents, if you make a mistake, your matter is going to get dismissed. Right? Especially on the notice. Once a notice is served, it's served. That's it. If you discover an error, you're going to have to reserve a new notice. Applications can be amended because applications are for the board only. I'm not serving an application, but I'm serving a notice. So in order to serve another notice, there has to be some sort of an error. And if you're serving a second notice, it usually means you're starting the process all over again, because you can't swap one notice and insert another notice, a corrected notice, if you filed with the board. The board doesn't work that way.
That's right. And you brought up a great point too, a few moments ago. We as realtors, we're not home inspectors. We're not paralegals and everything else in between. Our role there is obviously to best protect our client. And of course, I see our broker record going, yes, Gary, make sure you say this. That's why we need to hire and bring in people like Bida and the right property home inspector and so forth, because we are not lawyers. Right. That is not our wheelhouse. And you bring in the right expertise to handle some of these things and to protect. If you want to protect your client the way you need to protect your client, you bring on great people like Bida. One of the other things that we should probably talk about is the fact that, we've heard the nightmare stories of it takes such a long time to get my matter heard or in front of adjudicator and so forth. And we talked about this briefly in some of our videos. That speed, it is speeding up ever so slightly. However, I remember once I was on jury duty and the judge says to us and the jurors, the judicial system is best observed with patience. Would you agree? Same thing with the landlord tenant board.
The wheels of justice spin very slowly. And that's why cash for keys is such a great alternative to serving a notice, right? Because the process is still slow. Even though it's a 7 to 8 month delay, it's getting better. Sure, it's not 8 months, but it's 6 months or 7 months. There's still a delay.
Yeah. And this is where it's so important, my friends, as a landlord, an owner of properties, if you've got a tenant that is, they're 3 or 4 months behind in rent, you got to get on them. In fact, our property manager sends them a notice on the 5th day of missing that rent, because we don't want to add another 3 or 4 months or 6 months onto the process, right? But would that be the same advice you'd tell landlords?
Yeah, don't wait to start the process, especially for non-payment of rent. If rent is due on the 1st and the landlord is not paid on the 1st, then the process for non-payment of rent should be started on the 2nd.
There you go.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
If the tenant pays, they void the notice anyways. So what does it
Yep.
matter?
That's right.
Right?
That's right. It's I don't want to say it's just a notice, because in our world, that just a notice is very important to the cycle of events. However, yeah, you're right. As soon as they pay on the 3rd day. If you submit it on the 2nd day, all right, notice goes in the garbage. It's no big deal, right?
There you go. There you
Perspective.
go. But
And-
if they
and
keep delaying and they say, "Oh, Gary, I'll pay you on the weekend," and that weekend comes and goes, Gary, I'll pay you on Wednesday, and that comes and goes. I mean, you've wasted 10 days right there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. And I know, speaking from experience, and you as well, go visit your properties. If you don't have someone visiting them on a regular basis, go visit your properties. But as we kind of wrap up here, I don't want to say there's one advice that's better than the next, but what if you could say to every landlord they should know this, what would this be?
Well, can I say 2 things?
Yes.
Okay. The first thing, like Gary said, go and visit your properties. Be hands-on. The second thing is you can eliminate 95% of future headaches by properly vetting prospective tenants from the very beginning. If you do your homework right in the very beginning, it's going to cost you some time in order for you to vet the paperwork and verify the information and documents and do some little PI work. But definitely it will save you a lot of grief and a lot of headache in the future.
Excellent. Excellent. And of course, as we end our videos, how do people get a hold of you?
Check out our website, www.stonegatelegalservices.ca. You can book an appointment through the website, or our contact information is on the website as well. If you would like to get a hold of myself directly, email is the best method of communication. And that is because I'm either in training sessions like this one with brokerages, or I'm in hearings, or I'm negotiating termination of tenancies, and I can respond at any time. So info@stonegatelegalservices.ca is my email. And again, stonegatelegalservices.ca is our website. Tons of good stuff there. And check us out on social media. We always tend to provide updates with what's happening in the realm of landlord and tenants.
Yeah. And I'm going to challenge everybody right now. It's really easy to do. Go follow Bida or Stonegate on Instagram. Her reels, the shorts that she does there are excellent. Everyone should go subscribe to her and follow her. But as always, thank you so much. And please reach out to her. Trust me, it'll be well worth your time and everything else. But thanks so much for everything that you do.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Gary.
Excellent. Excellent. Of course, that is Bida. And we, as Jen mentioned off the top with our sponsors for Red Day, of course, Nelson Homes is our premier sponsor throughout the year for all of our team meetings, all of our big events. And if you've got clients looking to build, what a great way to introduce them, or a great opportunity to introduce them to Nelson Homes. And they have tremendous amount of options for you and opportunities for you. Reach out to Nelson. They'd be happy to help you out. Okay, my friends, mortgage update time. I'm going to bring Nicole on. Nicole, we are now best friends.
We are.
Here's the thing, and a lot of you will see Colin and I take our podcasts on the road, and what that does for us is put us, we get to rub shoulders with really cool people all the time. And it was last weekend or a couple of weekends ago that I got reintroduced to Nicole, and she's laughing. But anyways, the cool thing is, we get to rub shoulders with like-minded people, and we thought, hey, for this team meeting, let's look at a mortgage update from Nicole, who has tremendous amount of experience in obviously providing services to our clients, and I always love getting a different perspective on what's going on in the mortgage world. Nicole, I'm going to hand it over to you. You take it from here. How are you? And it's all yours, my friend.
Well, thank you, Gary, and thanks again for having me. And honestly, yeah, like you said, one of the I guess most favorite parts of what I do is just meeting different people on a regular basis. And I'm so fortunate to sort of work within the KW network, and you know, all of you guys are just amazing. And again, I thank you for having me here. And I wanted to share a little bit about what is going on these days. And I want to encourage as well, if there's any questions that kind of come about as I'm doing this, feel free to drop them in the chat. And then Gary, you can kind of maybe let me know, and I'll make sure I get back to anybody if I don't have a chance to kind of answer any of those today. But first of all, rates. You know, this is a topic of conversation every day, it seems, these days. And so I wanted to just start by kind of saying, let me know what's going on with the rates, but I really wanted to help you understand sort of what the influences are behind them. And the reason for that is because, you know, ever since we've been having this sort of roller coaster since last year with respect to the rates, I hear a lot that people and a lot of the agents that I work with are very familiar with sort of when the Bank of Canada announcements are coming up and things of that nature. But I wanted to just emphasize that with respect to both the fixed rates and the variable rates, they are actually influenced a little differently. And that's important just to kind of understand in terms of, you know, sort of seeing what's happening these days. So when it comes to the variable rates, I think we're pretty familiar with understanding that that is influenced by more of the Bank of Canada. The Bank of Canada, you know, sets a target lending rate, and they in turn affect the bank's prime interest rate is what we call it. So just to kind of recap for anybody, when a client has, or yourselves individually have a variable rate, it is a discount that is based off of prime rate, and prime is what fluctuates. So with the Bank of Canada, we have our next announcement on the 7th of June. So I think that's actually next week or the week after. So that is where everybody is kind of, you know, anxious and holding their breath in terms of what's happening or what's expected to happen. And so for the last little while, we've kind of held steady, and we haven't had, after, you know, having all these, you know, significant increases over since March of last year, we've kind of held steady for a little bit. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens on the 7th. There are kind of talks that it could potentially go both ways. And more importantly, that's really stemming from the economy. So it's really important to understand that everything that's happening right now is tied to the economic stability. So we had just last week, every month we kind of get an inflation, you know, sort of update. And last month was the first time we've kind of seen it increase slightly since it's been decreasing. So it's important to understand that actually may affect what's happening next week on June 7th. So because we saw that little bit of increase, it's very possible that we see another increase with the Bank of Canada next week. So have things been going well? You know, we've seen sort of inflation continue to decrease for the last little while, but that slight little uptick, it's very possible the Bank of Canada will, you know, sort of potentially increase its rates next week. The reality is, guys, honestly, we don't know what's going to happen. And even myself being an industry expert, we, you know, do the best we can in terms of staying on top of information. But the reality is we are actually in unprecedented times. So it's hard to say exactly what's going to happen. We can't predict it, even though we've been through, these sort of economic, challenges over the last 20, 30, 40 years, it hasn't really been the same. And so it's just important to understand that it is unpredictable. So that being said, that's kind of, tied to more of the variable rates. Separate and apart from that, we have the fixed rates, and the fixed rates are not necessarily tied to the Bank of Canada, policy changes and the interest rate changes there. They are still driven by, what's happening in the economy, but they are more so tied to the bond market. And I don't want to sit here and bore you with all of the details of that. But the important part is that they are a little different. And so if there are increases, on June 7th, for example, with the prime rate, it doesn't mean that there are going to be increases on the fixed rates. That said, last week, we actually saw some increases again to the fixed rates. And so we have been seeing those decline over the last a little while and decreases in that, which has been great. But it's probably not known to many of you yet, but we are starting to see increases again as of last week. And this is a result of some of the information that we're seeing from that slight increase to the inflation rate and the CPI. So the reason why that's really important as well is it ties into the pre-approval process for your clients, which I'm going to speak to as well. But I just want to make sure that this is the time where it's so important that you are engaging your partners, your mortgage partners, your financing partners, to really help speak to your clients and help reassure them in terms of what's going on in the market. And you guys know better than anyone that we can't time the market. And when your clients come back to you and say, hey, we're just going to sit around and kind of wait to see what's happening, that doesn't help any of us. So we want to make sure that you guys are engaging your financing partners to help them educate your clients, because education is key right now. It's really important to help everybody understand why it doesn't necessarily make sense to sit and wait on the fence. So it's really important that you kind of engage your partners for that. And so in keeping with these sort of fixed rate increases as well that we're seeing, I really want to emphasize that we are seeing this on the shorter terms for the most part. So anybody who owns a property or is kind of familiar with this, in general, we typically have a standard term of about 5 years. So, you can go from anywhere from 1 to 10 years typically, but standard for the past several years and on average has been about 5 years. Previously, any shorter terms were typically more affordable. But right now, what we're seeing is because the lenders are literally trying to incentivize borrowers to lock in to that sort of more standard and these days longer term of the 5 years. So where we were seeing sort of bursts of shorter terms for like the 3-year term, for example, we actually saw majority of lenders halt those last week, midweek, and start to increase the rates again on these shorter terms. So it's really important that we help clients understand what is best for them, because what we're seeing right now is, last year or the last 2 years where everybody was in this variable rate frenzy because, rates were, all-time low. We're starting to see the flip of that now, where everybody wants a fixed rate because they are so, uncertain of what's happening. But it's so important to understand that this is where we have to help educate your clients, because sure, things are happening in the economy and there's, uncertainty and, unpredictable sort of things happening right now, but it's still important to understand what is best for your clients, because regardless of variable rates being higher or fixed rates being lower or what have you, it all comes down to the penalties. And so, sure, you may be paying a higher rate for a variable, but if we know that your client truly needs flexibility for whatever reason, maybe it's a flip, or maybe, we know that we had to do some strategizing to have people on title to help qualify them in this current, challenging market, and we plan to take them off in a year or two, whatever it may be. If we know that your clients truly needs that flexibility, we're going to want to help them minimize any sort of penalties. And so it's really important to help, again, educate your clients and truly understand what makes the most sense for them, regardless of what's happening with the rates and so on nowadays. And one thing I want to just kind of touch on as well too is speaking about those increases and that fluctuation with rates. Anybody who is in a pre-approval right now, hopefully your brokers are sort of working with you to constantly kind of keep you in touch of what's happening with the pre-approval and the lifespan of that. But the lifespan is extremely important nowadays. And typically that is anywhere from 90 days to 120 days. We're hopefully utilizing the lenders that allow for that 4-month lifespan of a pre-approval. But that is the time frame in which your client actually has to secure a property and close on a property. So I find that there's a lot of confusion with that lifespan and that duration, because a lot of people come to me saying that they feel that they just have to purchase within that time frame. So it is important that you're kind of locating a property and closing on it. So you guys know, better than I do that is not a lot of time to secure a property, especially with, the market sort of picking up and, seeing these, multiple offers and things these days. So make sure that you're, if your broker's not checking in with you and keeping in touch with that, because sometimes clients lose touch of those dates. So make sure that you're constantly, before an offer, the practice that I like to have is just make sure that you're flipping me the MLS to chat with me about, the strategy on the property, making sure it looks good, because in that case, your broker can always go back to you and say, hey, make sure, we need to have this closing date to work within the timelines of the pre-approval. And the reason why that's so important as well is because if your client has been or your client has been assessed based on the qualification of that specific rate. So with the rates being so, I'm just going to call it volatile these days and up and down, that could change the affordability of your for your client. So if you're not doing a quick check-in with your broker to make sure all looks well, and in terms of those sort of small housekeeping matters, that could pose an issue as well. So just wanted to make sure that you guys are doing that. And one thing I wanted to touch on as well too, and I spoke about this last week with a few agents, is that it's so important now more than ever that you guys are really being picky with your partners. And I hate saying it that way, but it honestly is the truth. So these days, we're noticing more than ever that it's really coming down to the relationships that us mortgage brokers have with the lenders to be able to pull things off for you guys. So, and I say that, everything above board, and legitimately, it's really difficult to sort of make things happen these days. And again, it's coming from, I'll be completely transparent and honest to say with you guys, I have about almost 20 years, about 18 and a half years in a legal background as well prior to being in this industry. And I rely on that daily because that brings a lot of peace of mind to my lenders, and trust that they understand that anything I'm positioning to them is, just gives them that peace of mind. So it's extremely important that, of course, you guys have a couple different relationships in your go-to for brokers, but really getting an understanding of what your client needs and positioning yourself with the broker that's best situated for that specific client, depending on their needs. So this is where it's really important that you pick up the phone and you call your broker and you say, hey, is this, something that you'd be able to work with, or just making sure that you're setting them up for success, because you guys are working so hard to get them to, what you consider the finish line. And there's still a whole, heap of work that still needs to be done to actually make it happen. So, please make sure that you're really sort of connecting with your brokers to figure out who's best suited for, which sort of clients, and to get what you need to get done. And in speaking with that, one thing that is important to understand as well, we are very sort of niched with being able to break the box on the traditional lending side, so with the regular banks. And what's important to understand is if you brought me a client that is an insured client, meaning less than 20%, I can make magic happen all day, every day when it's a conventional deal. So we have 20% or more. But as soon as we have to involve the insurers, our hands are really tied. So it's important to just understand and have a conversation with your broker as well, because if we know that we have to involve the insurers and things of that nature, it's important to understand from the very beginning so that we can understand what that budget really looks like for you guys. Because 99.9% of the time when I give you guys a pre-approval and I say, hey, here's your budget, we know that most times I can, still stretch it further, and there's a whole bunch of sort of exceptions and things like that we can obtain. So it's just important to understand and have that conversation with your broker to say, hey, what are we working with here? Do we have a little bit of wiggle room? And if not, what does that look like? And lastly, I'll just kind of leave it to say, not all lenders or products are created equal. And this is important for your clients to truly understand. I hear it probably 50 times a day where clients are like, oh, well, I jumped on Rate Hub and I saw that such and such lender is offering this, and I want this, or I want the best rate. And of course, as a broker, we're always going to do everything we possibly can to secure that best rate. But again, it really comes down to what is the best product for them. And because the economy is so, in the market is so challenging these days, there's all sorts of new products and things that are coming out these days that are, appear to be beneficial for clients that may not necessarily be the case. So it's really important to for us to make sure that we're educating our clients, but that's where we kind of need your back as well too, to help them understand the benefit of having an actual professional sort of work with them. And I'll kind of sign off with saying, kind of in line with that being picky with your partners, I realized this, and this is actually funny. It's a saying that I had as a mom and entrepreneur, as it takes a village, and that is proving to be more and more true these days with our economy and our market. That we're encourage the realtors to make sure that you have your lawyers and your financing partners just kind of there by your side to really make it all kind of happen.
Excellent, Nicole. Excellent. Okay. How do people get a hold of you?
So email, Instagram, text as well. You can, it's at Mortgage Savvy Nicole for Instagram, 416-725-3999. Nice and easy as my number as well. And my email, you can reach me at Nicole, NICOLE, at M like mortgage, savvy, SAVVY.ca.
There you have it, my friends. So do reach out to her. As we've been saying, the theme along today's team meeting is all about, having the right people in our phone and making sure we're connected with the right people and connect our clients to the right people. So Nicole, thank you for everything that you do. And I look forward to hearing more about how you can help us in the future. Bye for now.
Thanks for having me.
Excellent. So yeah, that's the goal. And something that we announced last month, I'm going to bring Colin on screen too and give Vanessa the heads up that she's going to be coming on screen. We announced this last month, KPA. For those that have done the KPA, they know how valuable this is, right, Colin? And if you haven't, if you're hiring anyone, whether it's a realtor to join your team, an admin, or you have look at this. Even if you have a business outside of real estate, use the KPA because it'll show you the right people to be in partnership with. It'll also show you and walk you through. If you've never interviewed anybody, it'll show you how to interview people. And reach out to Colin and I, and definitely Jen. If this is the first time you're using it, we can coach you through how to use it, because the how is actually as important as reading it. Wouldn't you say, Colin? Yeah, hang on a second. I got you muted. So I love the mute button.
You need to stop that. Yeah. Absolutely, Gary. And like I know Terry Hastings will even touch on this later, but being in a few events where Gary Keller talks, he KPAs everybody. He KPAs his lawyers, his accountant, everyone that is part of his world, because it's a personality assessment and you need to know who you're working with. So like Gary rightfully said, if you're looking at hiring anyone, right now we're offering this for free for the entire brokerage. So please utilize it, because you can build a massive team with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if maybe you're two realtors coming together to form a team or to form another business, send each other the KPA, because it'll shed a lot of light on how to communicate with each other, how to succeed with each other, and everything alike. Excellent. Colin, okay. I'm going to hand this part of the meeting over to you and let you introduce our next guest here.
Absolutely. Vanessa Jazz, thank you so much for joining us. And like we rightfully said, today is a day where we're just connecting some of our local professionals as realtors so that we can have a team of professionals that we can always connect in our back pocket. Vanessa obviously is a lawyer, as she's working out of our Aurora office. Vanessa, welcome.
Thanks, Colin. Thanks, Gary, for having me today.
Absolutely. So take it away. Tell us about you, what you're seeing in the industry now. What are some of the things that we can, actions that we can take to prevent, hiccups when it comes to closings?
So since COVID, there's been a lot of change in the market. I've been doing real estate for over 20 years. And so I've been through all the ups and downs of the economy, higher interest rates, lower interest rates, dead spells. 2008 was a nightmare. And COVID literally was a nightmare. But in the last 12 months, one of the biggest trends that I've noticed is the funding from banks. It's refused, or there's some change that gets messed up a few days before closing. So we've had to negotiate a lot of extensions. I think in January, February, I'd probably say the first 4 months of this year, we had to negotiate extension after extension after extension. And that can have a domino effect, because as you all know that people purchase and sell a house simultaneously, or it could affect any person. So needing to negotiate extensions last minute, or we anticipate an extension needing to happen, and then we try to prepare our clients. This is where it's going. This looks like your closing is not going to sell, so let's be prepared. Let's have a plan B. Let's have a place to go stay. Let's talk to your banker. Let's like try to be proactive on this, because we think it's going to happen, especially when the other lawyer goes silent. So that trend is slowing down a little bit this spring, or with June or May and June market. You guys know that, things have picked up. The closings are happening fast. They're short closing dates, like all under 60 days, probably 30 to 45 day closing dates. So again, that's also a good sign, but I know what the forecasts are saying. So, we're just going with the flow at this point in time. So again, extensions for funding problems, and people just not selling the higher end homes as fast as they'd like, and they have a lot of conditional purchases on the go, and if they don't sell their house, then that's an extension. So yeah, lots of different negotiating needed before the closing, and also when it comes to, hey, there's no extension that can be had. What can we do last minute for funding? How can we help this person find a mortgage broker that can get this deal done for them, because they have other things on the stove, so to speak, and they need to close their deal. So yeah, having a good lawyer, or a very strong negotiating lawyer in your pocket or in your cell phone, is essential for any real estate agent.
So, and thank you for mentioning that, Vanessa. So what are some of the things that we can do preemptively, so that when we know these extensions are coming, is this a collaboration with us as the agent? Is it the lawyer now taking over to help negotiate that part of it? What is the best way for us, you would recommend for us as realtors, to handle it?
Well, every situation is unique, of course, and every relationship between the agent and their client is unique, and I don't want to step on anybody's toes. I always say open communication with the lawyer and the clients and the other agents is the best thing to do. But sometimes the other side doesn't cooperate. So, we always try to get them to use their agents first. And if the agents get stonewalled or for some reason they can't get it anywhere, then I say call the lawyer. Another reason for calling the lawyer is we always negotiate extensions so that they get paid additional fees. They get paid their moving or storage costs. They get paid any kind of losses on interest or anything that they're paying, any kind of adjustment to the statement of adjustments for the closing date. Like, there's a lot that goes into it. And just depending on the situation, like, the lawyer can negotiate a lot of things that the agent doesn't even think about negotiating, because you're seeing it from an agent's point of view, but we're seeing it as, hey, well, this is how I see it. I can't speak for every lawyer, but when I see it, I'm like, okay, wait a minute. My clients are going to be out. They're going to be inconvenienced. They're going to be stressed. What is it that I can do to give them added value with my services? How do I help them get what they need? And so I go for everything. I go for the no, and I go for as big as list as I can possibly get for my clients. And then the other lawyer wants to whittle it down from there, but that's fine. But at least my clients, I exceed their expectations. Yeah. And I also help out the agents when I do this, because, their agents hopefully referred them to me, and they're saying, oh, wow, she's a really good lawyer. You really helped us out there, because a lawyer, clients don't know how good their lawyer is until there's a problem. Unfortunately, you can always have an easy transaction, and the lawyer doesn't have to do much, or the clerk does the deal, but it's when there's problems that you really figure out who knows real estate law, who knows negotiation, who's going to stand up for you, who's going to stand up for your clients. Like I was telling you that I will never put the agent under the bus. Like, I'll never throw the agent under the bus. Even if the agent did mess something up, I will never make the agent look bad, because that's a source of referrals for me. Yeah. And I will cover it over and glean it over for the clients, so that they just, this is a normal thing that happens. Don't worry about it. Like, just ease the stress, exceed their expectations, and make sure everybody looks really good at the end of the day, because, we all want that person to come back to us. Yeah.
And like you rightfully said, it comes down to communication. So it's us as real estate agents communicating with you, the lawyer communicating with us, the clients, and also in some cases communicating with the other side. So there are times when we might not be able to, like you said, we might be stonewalled from the other agents, but this is where we bring in the expertise of a lawyer, because we from the brokerage side, like you're saying, we are seeing a lot of extension. It was supposed to close, 3 weeks ago, and then it's being extended. What does that mean for the clients, for your clients, and the best way to negotiate that? What else are you seeing in the market right now that we should be aware of that we can start planning for?
Right now, we're just focusing on getting through the closings because we didn't have very many. I mean, we're all in the same business. It was a very lean winter. So we're pivoting into getting back into gear to getting the closings on the calendar. And we're not noticing any big trends from June until now, just a lot more closings, people wanting to close really fast. I'm not sure if that comes from the interest rates or whatever, but people are being more realistic when it comes to pricing and what they're getting for prices. I'm seeing a lot of people try to get not using an agent, trying to get the cheapest agent. I'm like, you don't always get the cheapest agent. Like, you get what you pay for, just like you don't always get the cheapest lawyer. But not too much since June, just really like people are trying to get their houses on the market quickly, sell them quickly, close them quickly. I'm not sure what that's about. It could be a little bit of sense of panic from the economists on the TV, but it's just people are trying to close things quickly. So that's the trend I'm seeing.
And in addition to real estate law, you're also a family law.
Yes, I do. Well, I dabble. I don't dabble. I shouldn't say I dabble. I've been a lawyer for over 20 years as my own practice. So, I mean, you have to touch on a lot of things. Plus, I'm an entrepreneur. So I know business law. I'm a litigator. So I'm not afraid to say things when I got to say it for my client. Like, I'm a resolute advocate for my clients, and I will fight for my clients for what they need. And I do family law, and that probably comes from family law as well, because you got to fight every day. So that tends to shine sometimes in real estate, because sometimes you need the lawyer to fight for your client. It's just a no-brainer. So yeah, all those other areas of law help me in my practice, and they help me when I'm dealing with commercial deals, residential deals, or anything that comes across my plate. Honestly, I've seen it all, done it all, and nothing really phases me. And I give that confidence to my clients and to the agents that refer to me, really.
Vanessa, thank you so much. Vanessa is out of the Aurora office, so please drop by, see her. What is the best way for realtor partners to get hold of you, Vanessa?
They can email me at vjass@blacklawoffice.ca. So VJASS@blacklawoffice.ca.
All right. Vanessa, thank you so much.
Truly Thanks, Colin. See you later. Bye, everybody.
Excellent, Colin. I love when we bring in new people and it just expands, what we know and who they know and everything else. It expands our network. One of the cool things to come across the wires, as it were, and a lot of you have been logging into Treb recently and seeing new services powered by PropTech. And you're like, Gary, what the heck is this? Well, we know it's Realm, and I'm a huge supporter of Realm and everything else. And with Realm, there's a lot of things that get added because of that. And of course, there's Sky Slope that is now being offered, List Track, which is the new analytics or stats for your listings. That is absolutely exceptional. And the one I want to focus in on is the one at the bottom, second on the left, is RestB.ai. And if you've been hiding under a rock, you'd be like, well, what's AI? Colin and I love AI. I love the tools of AI. We love how AI is being implemented into our everyday business. Here's the cool thing, my friends. This is cool. Check this out. I'm not even sure if Colin knows this. This is what that app is going to be doing for us. It will go and visualize, or analyze, I should say, your listing photos and provide descriptive comments about your listing photos. Well, here's where it gets really cool. As I was talking to my Realm friends at Realtor Quest, let's say you found, or your client found, the absolute perfect kitchen, but it's in the wrong listing. It's in the wrong location. It's in the wrong house. They can search by that image similar listings. How cool is that? That's just the tip of the iceberg, my friends, with AI and what Realm is going to be doing. And there's a lot of really cool features around what AI is going to be doing. AI voice, so it'll read you the listing descriptions. There's a whole bunch of AI stuff coming out through Realm and through Toronto Real Estate Board, which is really, really cool. So speaking of what were we speaking of? Speaking of Realtor Quest, one of the neat things with Realtor Quest, and Colin and I made an effort to go this year, and we saw some of you there. We saw Michelle Terzis and Ben, Christine Allen there, many of our friends that we know. And one of the cool things, Colin, is when you get to sit down and you just randomly sit down at a random table for lunch. I'm going to invite our guest on, Serena. You all of a sudden you're sitting there and you start chatting and you realize, hang on a second, I'm sitting at the same table with the broker record from another KW office, and she holds a very prestigious title and job, and very important job over at Humber. And she starts sharing with us what she's doing at Humber and how she is providing and empowering the realtors, experienced realtors at Humber. And I said, Serena, I have two questions for you. I can't remember what the first question is right now, but the second question, can you come on our team meeting on Tuesday and share what you just shared with us? And of course, here she is. Serena, how are you?
I'm fabulous. Thank you so much, Gary and Colin. Nice to see you both. Thank you very much for inviting me here today.
Absolutely.
So I'm not going to try and describe what the new program, so there's your hint, at Humber. But what I heard in a matter of minutes is, here's an absolutely amazing opportunity that Humber is going to be providing. I use the word veteran agents, but I'm going to say experienced agents, and all the training that we do and take. What do we have to show for it is one thing, that's our client and that's our business. But sometimes there's more, and that more is what Serena is going to be sharing with us today. I'm going to hand it over to you, Serena, and you take it from there, my friend.
Well, thank you so much, Gary. Hello, everyone. It is such a pleasure to be here with you today and speak with Gary and Colin and, of course, the rest of your teams. As I was introduced, I am Serena Hart, and I'm here today as the program manager of the real estate education program at Humber College. However, I'm here today to chat with you, as Gary alluded to, about a new program that Humber is introduced into real estate education. But before I do that, let me tell you a little bit about myself and why I'm so excited to share this information with you. So I'm a real estate broker. I've been in real estate for the past 23 years, and similar to all of you, I started my real estate career, knocking on doors, doing your scripts, doing all the things that you needed to do, working with buyers and sellers for hours and hours. I was a single mom, and my daughter was only 4 years old at the time. So I worked many hours, like all of you do right now, to ensure we always exceed our clients' expectations. That's the KW way. So I also adopted the mindset of career-long learning, like many of you have done, which means taking hundreds of courses over the last 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years. So I wanted to make sure, like many of you, you're taking your courses to maintain your skills and your knowledge is up to date, make sure your practices are current, and you want to make sure that you protect your clients' needs. I have volunteered for community organizations. I have sat on many committees and boards. I've trained myself as a real estate instructor, curriculum designer, train the trainer, and also manager. And like Gary said, I am currently the broker of record at other KW. Many of you are also subject matter experts in your field, whether it's running or scaling your business, managing your teams, marketing, negotiations, figuring out new AI technology, project management, or even surpassing sales goals year after year after year. Even as subject matter experts in many of these fields, many of the real estate professionals in our industry are not recognized by post-secondary institutions. I personally do not have a degree yet. I only have certain acumens post-secondary because I wanted to be better at what I could do. I wanted to be a better trainer. I wanted to be a better broker of record. But the thing is that at an academic level, I have surpassed some of the diplomas and the degrees that are out there. But because I've been focused in real estate, my passion for the last 23 years, none of the knowledge and skills and the competencies that I possess, or any of the skills that you have over all of these years that you've acquired on the job, they're not recognized at a post-secondary institution, college or university. Sure, yes, you can acquire designations in real estate, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what if you could acquire recognition by a college for all of the hard work that you've done in your field of real estate, a field that you're passionate about. Because I'm going to let you know right now, the position that I was hired in last year as the program manager, I did not get hired on because I have a degree at post-secondary. I got hired on because of the 23 years of experience as a real estate professional and the journey that I took in adult education and the journey I took as a record. So the thing is that if you're passionate, is there an Gary? Gary?
You're just fine.
Okay. I can hear myself now. So I'm here to tell you that if you are passionate about secondary, post-secondary education, Humber College is the first college in Canada to basically say, we recognize all of your hard work. So we have launched called the Real Estate Leadership and Entrepreneurship Certificate Program. And it's designed for registered individuals like yourself. So what does this mean? Many of you already have post-secondary academic, but many of us don't. So if you want to enter your real estate education in leadership, in business, in sales, but you also want to be recognized at a post-secondary college, Humber now offers a certificate of accomplishment, which means this is a reward college level. It's not a diploma yet. It's not but we're there. And the thing is that you don't have to enroll in a full-time program. So what we've done is recognize that there are two types of individuals. There are individuals who have the time in real estate who want to just get the courses done. And so they can commit for a long period of time. And then most of us don't have the time. We're working with our clients on a regular basis. So you need something a little bit more flexible. But what if you want the certificate, but you want still recognition at a college level? So what we've decided to do, or what we're going to share is the micro credential screen, which means if you want to achieve your certificate of accomplishment college in our real estate leadership entrepreneurship program, you can take 3 courses. They're 10 weeks each, and then you can complete the program and get your certificate. Or if you want to just take your time, 2 years to complete it, you can take what's called micro-credentials. Those micro-credentials are part of the course, and they will last longer than 2 weeks. You can get them done maybe 6 to 10 hours. There's no exams, no assignments, and then you can actually enhance competency. So if you're looking at only studying business models to ensure that you want to scale your business in a couple of years, you can take that micro-credential. If you don't want to certificate, you don't have to. You can pick and choose the micro-credential topics that you want to enroll in. The great news is that micro-credentials are recognized at a post-secondary institution. So very similar to your LinkedIn resume, you can actually include your digital badges on your resume to let all clients know that you are now studying real estate at a post-secondary level. And this is what I have been working so hard on for 23 years of my career in real estate, Gary and Colin. I decided 5 years after I got into real estate, I wanted to give back to my industry. I wanted to give back to the mentors that actually taught me the ropes and made me who I am. And my last name says it all, H-A-R-T. I care about all of you. And I can't remember the lawyer's name before. She said she was an advocate. I also am an advocate, but I'm an advocate for you as real estate professionals to be finally recognized for all of the hard work and all of the knowledge and skills that you have. Your business owners, your managers, your leaders, your board of directors, your volunteers, and you're not being recognized at post-secondary in Canada. And now you can. And that's why I'm here today.
That's excellent. And where can we get some information about the program? When's the program being launched? We
We launched the standard stream last year in the fall, and we're now launching the micro credentials this late summer, early fall once again. And you can visit our website at humber.ca/Rele, which is RELE. So once again, humber.ca/Rele, RELE. All of the information is there, and you can contact us through there as well too.
Excellent. Excellent. I know many of you, you love education. That is your thing. And here's another great avenue to, to educate yourself and also to help better serve your clients at the end of the day. Serena, thank you for everything that you're doing. I'm so happy we sat at the same table for lunch. It wasn't random. It was certainly meant to be. And we look forward to, many of our agents and colleagues taking that course. Thank you for everything that you're doing at Humber.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Colin and Gary, once again. And to everyone who is online today, I wish you continued success. I forgot the sex. So I wish you continued success in all of your careers, and I hope to see you soon. Bye for now.
Thank you, Serena. This is just great to know, Gary, because with all of our experience in real estate, at some point we could get like Serena said, it's not theirs yet, but they're working towards it, where we can get a diploma, we can get a degree for all of our experience in real estate. And it's great work that Serena is doing at Humber. So that is just fantastic.
Excellent. Excellent. I'm going to invite Jonathan to come on screen with us. And while I do that, I just want to remind people that our Red Share interviews are back, and there's a great one that's going to be posted this afternoon with Anushka. So make sure you watch out for that. Jonathan, we're going to hand it over to you now.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Colin. It's my pleasure to be on again. I don't know if it's a broker record thing, but does everybody need 23 years to be the broker record? Serena Hart does, and so do I. And I'm also an advocate of you guys. The very first thing during my interview with a year ago now with Colin was saying that I am an advocate of our agents, and Serena just hit the nail on the head with that comment. I'm also an advocate of someone who takes education very seriously, not just for myself, but also I would highly recommend that all of you take more courses and education as part of the ongoing self-education within our industry. Just to give you a little bit of an update, I just completed 4 courses of an FRI designation. That is, FRI stands for the Fellow of Real Estate Institute. With given a few more weeks after they, I hope I pass after they mark my test, that I would be designated as an FRI, and which would just help my position in being your advocate and becoming the broker record and being your advocate to do your job better. Having said that, just to take a few steps back, going back to what Beta said, absolutely, I've been using Beta in all the brokerages that I've worked at, and Beta and her organization is just fantastic with what they do as far as they work on behalf of the landlord, and they also work behalf of the tenant as well. And what she said about checking the background or checking the credit report of the potential tenants is absolutely the best thing to do. It saved my skin time and time again. So that's a very, very high recommendation on checking the credit report of your potential tenants. Just to go back also is what Beta was saying and what Gary was saying, that we as realtors are not specialists in the Landlord-Tenant Act, or it's called the Tenancy Act. So we're not specialists on the Landlord-Tenant Board or the legislation that follows it. So be careful on how you give advice to your clients or take advice amongst each other with regards to the the Tenancy Act. Whether it's the different forms that we use or what we do with delinquent tenants, all those things should be referred to a company that such as the Beta works for, or to the Landlord Tenant Board website. Okay, so although we may experience or we may have experience on the landlord-tenant relationship, that's not our area of expertise. Our area of expertise is actually real estate transactions. What I really wanted to come on board was to mention, Gary had mentioned Realm and a lot of the other technologies and the prop techs that follow. I wanted to mention specifically with regards to SkySlope. SkySlope Forms is something that I've been looking at and working with for a little while. And I feel it's just fantastic. It does everything that your web form does, only about 10 times better. And what I really mean by that is when I say it's better, it just synchronizes everything, all your information, all the information from the MLS onto the forms. It just maps everything better. And when you send for signatures to your clients, it just has a very easy flow. So having said that, what we're going to do is the Office of the Broker of Record is going to be doing a seminar on SkySlope Forms. If you've tried it, it's very easy. You probably got a handle of it already. But if you haven't, what we're going to do is we're going to make announcements through Jen, through the calendar, and we're going to be doing the SkySlope Forms seminar. Actually, two of our agents, Christine Allen and Megan Waller, are going to be the actual presenters. So you'll learn from your peers that way as well, and not just from me. So please keep your calendars at bay and look for that calendar invite for the SkySlope Forms seminar. Okay, that's pretty much it on my end, Gary. If there's any questions from your side or if there's any comments, I would welcome them.
Well, and thanks for leading that, Jonathan. We should also mention too, and I know a lot of people have been seeing this from their listings. Trev is now initialized as the moment you upload an image of your listing or any images of your listing, whether now that it's on Realm, they are adding text to it, property of or the ownership of. And you'll see that now. Why we're doing that is because, of course, many images are being copied and used outside of the real estate industry. So it's a matter of privacy and protection for you and your clients. That's why we're seeing that on all listings right now.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Gary.
Very, very good, Jonathan. Again, thanks for everything you do. I haven't dived into SkySlope yet, but you raved about it last week, and I'm looking forward to that moment where I start using it. And I know you said it. It is just so much better than our current system. So that's exciting to hear. Thanks for everything that you're doing, Jonathan.
Thanks, Gary.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I'm going to invite Colin and Jen on screen with us, and in a moment, Terry Hastings. And this is coming up real soon. Jen, why don't you talk to us about this event coming on May 31st? Hang on, there you're muted. There,
there you go. Colin now, I love it. I was just saying this is going to be amazing. So I was talking to Terry, and we talked about what our agents are needing in the training and on the calendar and trying to enhance what we're bringing. And I asked her if she would be open to sharing her listing presentation with the brokerage. And she, thank God, loved the idea. So Terry is going to be live role playing her actual listing presentation on May 31st. Hoping she'll be able to get down and do it in person. We're just kind of confirming the date. It might be on Zoom, and that's just as good, honestly. We'll be able to record it that way, which might actually be even better. But if you haven't registered for this yet, please do. This is one of the top agents in Keller Williams Canada, one of the top team leads, one of our biggest inventory holders. And she's going to sit down and show you what she does, how she does it, and how she closes on more listings than anyone else in our brokerage at this point. So we need to be learning from the talent, and she is that. And I'm so excited that she was open to this idea. I hope to be able to bring a series like this to the brokers where we have more of our our top agents sharing and live role playing some of their content so that we can learn from them and actually see the action, see what happens, see the process.
Excellent. Excellent. And speaking of Miss Terry Hastings, we're going to welcome her to the screen right now. How are you, Terry?
Good. How's everybody?
Doing good.
Great. Thank you, Jen. That was amazing. Put me high up on a pedestal.
I speak nothing but truth, Terry. She just
Thank
comes
you.
back from a mastermind with Gary Keller. Since I put her
Yes.
on a pedestal.
It was so much fun. Thanks, Gary and Colin, for having me as well. And it was quite an honor to be in Dallas with Gary Keller and 200 top producers from around the world, really. And I learned so much. So I know we're pressed for some time. So I thought I would share the top 2 things that we discussed most in depth so that we can help everybody. First, we met for 2 days. Gary gave us a great market update. Basically, he said the same as Nicole. You know, we really don't know where we're going to end up probably until September, October. He feels it's going to be October is going to be the sign of improvement, but definitely into 2024. So basically what we're doing here now, if you start to work on your database, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute, you'll start to reap the benefits of it come this fall and into next spring. So it's that important. So of course we talked about, well, what do we do now? And it really is basically lead generating, but triple down on your lead generating. When you do that, what do you do with it? So we talked about how to assess your data, your database. So I brought home database assessment playbook. Now, I'm not kidding you. I got so excited. I called Jen, I called Lori Rumley, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you won't believe what I'm bringing back. This here, honestly, if you want the playbook that I have, you can email me and we're happy to share it. I'm sending down the whole database management ISA playbook that I have everything to call in. So it'll be at the new market office. So, but quickly, it just talks about how to analyze your database, how to do some math regarding your database so that you understand how much money really is sitting in your database. So that if you do what's in the playbook, you'll be able to lower your ad spend so that the money will be there for you. And it basically teaches that you have to increase your touches, but with quality touching. And so it goes all through that in the playbook. Next, he talks about, well, we all talked about, what does it look like to have an ISA, an inside sales agent? So this is critical, especially if you're a team. You know, are you ready for an ISA? If you should you have one? So it talks about how to assess if you're ready for one, and if you're an individual, how to assess if you're ready for one as well. And if you're not, most important, if you're not ready or your business model isn't quite there yet, then you be the ISA. Mm-hmm. So it talks about where to triple up your lead generating in the ISA playbook. Actually, it is unbelievable. They gave us so many websites to be utilizing for lead generating. And also it talks about how to hire an ISA, what tasks do you have an ISA doing, and then how do you keep them trained and motivated? That's a critical, I'm all about leverage. So for me, we're already have come back and we have started to change some things so we can start to utilize an ISA. That is one missing thing that we've never had. So I brought back the ISA model playbook. So Gary said we must teach this to our brokerages. Mm-hmm. So Colin, Jen, it's coming to you via courier.
Thank you.
I love it.
And so lastly, I want to leave with this on the second day, halfway through, one of the top producers out of the blue just put up his hand and he said, Gary said yes. And he said, you know, I just want to be quite honest. This year has been the most difficult in my whole career. So Gary said, okay, hold on, let's stop. And so he said, who else feels the same way? 3/4 of the room put up their hand. So my point in telling that story is you're not alone if you're feeling that way. So reach out, put the tools in place. Our brokerage, get on the training. And he said, when you're starting to feel like that, you need to get in training. You need to get in a room with other people. So don't feel like you're out there alone. Has been a tough year for a lot of realtors, but we also talked about it's a great opportunity when everyone else is over here and they're all negative. And, a lot of the times Gary talked about that's when people start thinking the grass is greener on the other side. This is a great time for you to get in and steal some market share. And sometimes you have to create the market in times like this. So again, reach out, ask if you want these playbooks, we'll give them to you, whatever. And we're happy to discuss and how to implement them. And that's another key thing. So we also had an amazing session where we got to hear 4 other top teams and their whole complete business models. So we have that. They gave us everything, how they're doing their marketing, what they're putting in their marketing, where they're doing it, absolutely everything. And we're talking teams that are, 4 times bigger than any of the teams that we know of around here. Well, in our brokerage and other brokerages.
Yeah.
So it was quite a learning session for sure. In the last break on the last day, I walked up to Gary Keller and I said, Gary, I'm Terry Hastings from Canada. I shook his hand. And for those of you who know NLP, I planted an acre on his elbow and said, I'm from Canada and you won't forget me. And he goes, oh no, I won't forget you. So I squeezed his elbow again and I said, you won't forget me.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, so
I love it.
It was very, very honored. I was very honored to be there. It was such a great learning session. So that's all I've got.
Terry, that is truly amazing because here you were in a room with 200 of the top producers in Keller Williams around the world. And thank you for taking in all this information and bringing it back to the brokerage and being so willing and open to share it with us. I know you and I were texting on Thursday, I'm bringing this and I'm bringing this, and I'm super excited because all of this information is coming. But what was more, even in our text conversation, what was even more insightful is here are the top agents from around the world, the top 200, and he just went to the basics.
Yes.
Database and lead gen. And we need to, forget doubling down. We need to triple down on our lead gen. Yet, yes, this is where we add in an ISA. We need to go out and do some more work. But I remember Gary saying, and he said it so many times, all great truths are simple. And here are the simple things we need to do. Manage our database and go lead generate as much as possible. Obviously, there are tools for us to do that, and we're going to share that with the brokerage. But Terry, I truly appreciate you, all that you've done, and obviously you being a part of that elite group and coming back and sharing all of that with us. Thank you so much.
No problem. On that note, I have a listing I got to go sign up.
Well, yes, go do that.
I love it.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, Terry.
Bye, Terry. You're the 31st.
Excellent.
It was so funny when she called me last week and she was so excited on her way home. And she's telling me about the book and the ISA book and all that. And at the end of it, she goes, and you're going to teach it. Good delegation, Terry. But leading into it, yes, we are going to be making sure once we get the content that will be on the training calendar, we'll be teaching on the database, we'll be teaching on the ISA model, and any other content she gives us. So we'll do our best to get that out to our agents and guys as quickly as possible.
Excellent. As we wrap up here, Jen, why don't you share with us what's going on June 29th?
Yes, I'm so excited for this. Our ALC is also extremely excited about this. We had our meeting a few weeks ago and decided that usually we have our agent appreciation barbecue, and we kind of do it here on site, and we have, you know, I think we had a dunk tank last year and an obstacle course and a couple of things. And we just decided we wanted to do something a bit bigger, a bit different, a bit more, you know, evening focused and all of that. So we opted to do our KWRC celebrates highlighting our realtors, our agent appreciation event, and turn it into a nighttime cocktail party. So instead of having it out in the barbecue in the backyard, we're going to be at Event Market on Main Street in Newmarket. We're going to have those doors open. We'll be able to overlook the lake. We're going to have music, food, drinks. We're going to have entertainment. And we're just going to celebrate our agents, say thank you so much for everything that you're doing, the support you're showing, the brokerage, the growth in your business, and just acknowledging, you know, some really cool stuff that's happened so far this year, celebrating some of our agents, and just having a good social night. So it's going to be a good time. It turns out our ALC know like bartenders and bands and, you know, all sorts of stuff. So we're working through that list to make sure that, you know, we can have some dancing, we can have a good time, and then we'll be right on Main Street. So if people want to keep the party going afterwards, you just walk down the street and go to another spot and keep going. So yeah, June 29th starts at 7 p.m. at Event Market in Newmarket. We will see you guys there. It is cocktail attire. I know that it's going to be summer. Everyone loves to get dressed up, be a little bit fancy. So we want to make sure that we embrace all of that. Gary, that means you probably cannot wear your Vans to the event. I know you're going to try. I know you are, or a hat for that matter. But we'll see how it goes. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to it.
Thank you again. Thank you to you and the ELC for organizing, arranging, planning all of this. This is going to be a big night. So book it in your calendar. Be there or be square.
What he said. There you go. My friends, that is the end of our team meeting. Thank you so much, of course, to all of our guests, Bida, Nicole, Vanessa, Serena, of course, Jonathan, and Terry. We'll see everybody around the office. Come in for Terry's training at the end of the month and make this one of the best summers you've ever had. My friends, we'll see everyone, and goodbye for now.